social media is awful. Twitter's awful. But I think a lot of this has accelerated because, like, our serious, the way that we're seriously taking this, and the way that the example I'll give is just, everyone was complaining, like, Friday night, all these young people were out, young people being under 40 and going to restaurants and bars. And then the social media outrage, I think, hipped all the politicians and the CDC, and then that's all going to come crashing down this week. You know what I mean? And I think that's a positive. I mean, I don't like cancel culture and getting people fired, and I don't want anybody to suffer economic impact. But right now, it's kind of necessary.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think too that there's just so much we don't understand about it. That
right.
I mean, honestly, like when when it was like Wednesday night or Thursday when it's like all of a sudden Tom Hanks is saying that he has. I mean, it sounds weird to say it, but I really do think Tom Hanks, like, announcing to the world that he has corona in Australia, really, it's like an inflection point there. And then, of course, Rudy Gobert and Donovan, the Jazz players getting at the NBA, like, suspending their season.
Yeah.
And I mean, just all the the PGA cancels the event. The Masters are postponed. All this cascading sports stuff. I mean, at least for me, I know, put it in perspective where it's like, whoa, like, the NCAA has held the tournament every year since 1939.
Right.
And they canceled, and they were like quick to put no fans there and quick to cancel it. And you just don't see sports leagues with literally billions of dollars at stake making these decisions that quickly. And, which leads us to the fact that the NFL, as I'm like putting on a button up to do video at 8:10, is holding free agency this week.
Yeah, and it's so important that you bring up that point, and these are major organizations with billions of dollars on the line, and I'm so sick of people blaming the media for causing this. The media did not cause this. They have access to information that even we don't have, that this is real, that it's unprecedented, that we haven't gone through this, and that they're trying to prevent a catastrophe.
Dude, the Masters.
Yeah.
The Masters,
they don't listen to anybody.
They don't care what anybody thinks.
Right.
Like they didn't, I mean, I don't remember what the timeline is. I don't want to be like flippant about it, but like they wouldn't let women play golf at their golf course until like 2005.
Well, they ran a tournament without even advertisers to say, screw you.
Yeah. They do
don't
not,
care.
They care less about what anybody thinks more than maybe anyone in the entire world.
Right.
And they're like, hey, look, we got to postpone this thing. I mean,
right.
That in and of itself speaks. I actually thought Vince McMahon and the XFL might try and push the envelope a little bit, but not. And
they're not playing.
No, of course they're not. Of course they're not playing. But but if you're a startup league and you become the only game in town, I mean, there's some benefits to that. Obviously, you can't do it for the public. They would have gotten, the outcry would have been incredible immediately if they'd be like, we're pushing on. I mean, the PGA Tour caught a ton of flack for playing that first round with people there. But yeah, I mean, like, it's the whole thing is just like but again, back to McMahon, like, think about how much money he has at stake trying to build a startup football league, and he just shut it down for the season. Right. I mean, it's not like this is some established thing where it's like, okay, we can pause it for 90 days and people will come right back to it. I mean, it was a budding young league that they were trying to get going, and they had to shut it down far earlier than they wanted.
And they're going to pay everybody.
So as it pertains to the NFL and this new CBA and the league year, I know the NFL said they're not going to change the start of the league year. But as they go forward, since it's such a fluid situation, as they go forward, you got to bring all these guys in. Each one of these teams has to fly in, potential draft picks and free agents. And with the travel restrictions, do you think that will change? Do you think that the league year will change, especially as we approach the draft?
Well, in terms of the start for Wednesday at 4 p.m., no, we're going. And I mean, there's a couple of schools of thought here, right? One, it could get worse, right? In two weeks, things could, you can do all this business over Skype and over conference calls and all of that, and it makes it more difficult, of course. But these executives can hash out what they want to do with the players, and you have the 48-hour, or they got 36 now hour tampering window, or whatever hour it's been shifted to, because the tag is at noon today. But you can do all this business without actually meeting with the player and meeting with the agents. You can hash that out. And so in theory, in 2 weeks, if it's worse, then you wouldn't want to be pressing on with it then. and you would run into some issues. And it just, as it pertains to, I mean, like you could deal with it, but as it pertains to the business of the NFL, if you had to like do free agency in May or June, you had to push the draft even further back, and then you're into training camps. And, in theory, at that point in time, like this should hopefully we should have some clarity to the situation. I'm obviously, I went to school for a long time, but I'm not a doctor. So like, I'm not going to tell you that it's all going to be safe. I also think that, look, we know how the NFL operates, right? You guys have followed the league for a while, and they're the only, free agency is the only game in town. I mean, I think that you're going to see, at least selfishly, like I do a daily NFL podcast, and we are aware that we will probably have a growing number of listeners this week because there's literally nothing else on. Like usually this week is busy for us for free agency because people are interested in what NFL teams are doing. But there's also the distraction of March Madness and of the NBA season and of, countless other things that are going on. And instead this week it is literally going to be the NFL and nothing else. And I can't help but believe that may have played at least a small part in it.